Welcome on in, everybody, to the All Aussie Rules podcast. This is episode 76, and this is AFLW Finals Week 3. Big week for the AFL Women's Competition. So we're going to be going through everything there is to know about the AFLW this week. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. 2 podcasts every week, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. 2 a week, most weeks. For the next few until AFLW is finished, and then we'll be narrowing it down to 1 a week from then on in until AFL men's season really starts ramping up. So yeah, at the moment we're doing a Monday episode each week, which is AFL men's competition. We had a draft preview earlier this week, and next week we will be having a draft review, which will be next Monday, episode 77. But in between, we're doing AFLW Finals Week 3. Here we'll be looking at last week's matches. We'll review both of the 2 semi-finals. One absolute cracking game. The other one was a bit of a blowout, but that's okay. So we'll check them out, and then we'll have a look forward towards this week and the couple big preliminary finals that we have coming up. So without any further ado, let's jump into it and have a look at semi-final action from 2024 AFLW season. We led off with Adelaide hosting Fremantle at Norwood Oval in Adelaide. And as you can see, it was a bit of a domination in the end by Crows. 7-7-49 to 1-6-12 for the Dockers. What to say about this game? First quarter looked like it was going to be pretty close, in all honesty. Fremantle were actually winning with a couple minutes to go in the quarter. It was 3-1 before Chelsea Randall kicked the opener with only a couple minutes left in that first quarter. Second quarter was a domination towards the way of the Crows. Levy, Mungard, Martin and Ballard all kicked a goal each to give them a 5-3, 33 to 0-4-4 lead at the half time. Crows then got the first one of the third quarter through Ebony Marinoff, and to be honest, the game was pretty much over from that point. The Dockers did get their first and in the end only goal straight after that Marinoff goal through Seth. The Crows kicked their last goal of the match late in the third quarter through Danielle Ponta. Last quarter was a bit of a stalemate. 2 points for the Crows, 1 point for the Dockers, but the damage was done. Comfortable winners, the Crows, with their new logo, their new fresh logo, which I quite like actually, as a little side note. But yeah, convincing winners in the end. They were expected to win this one. I won't say reasonably comfortably. Oh, yeah, I will say that actually. I don't think we expected it to be too close. Fremantle certainly wasted some chances early, 0-4 at half time, but I mean they still would have been a fair way back even if they kicked straight. So the better team on the day won it, no doubt about it. But yeah, a good performance from the Crows. We'll jump into some stats of this one, which will just show how much the Crows did dominate this one. Plus 44 possession or disposals, for the Crows. Slightly above their average disposal count, so pretty good performance there. They are a higher disposal getting team than the Dockers typically, and this was no different than that. Kick to handball was pretty similar for the Crows to their normal rate. However, the Dockers did handball a bit more than they usually do, so not ideal to change up your style in the finals. Both teams pretty poor inside 50. Their efficiency inside 50, I should say. But the Crows really got it forward a lot. 46 to 26, so plus 20. Crows 8 more than their average, which is really, really good performance from them. In the middle, slash clearance-wise, plus 2 for the Crows. However, the Dockers were really good at centre clearances, plus 4. Contested footy was dominated by the Crows, as was uncontested footy. Turnover count was really an important factor in this one in favour of the Crows. Just 54 turnovers for the match, which is a good number. Anything under about 57, 58 is really good performance, and the Dockers had 61, so a bit over what they would have liked. 7 turnover difference there gives you 7 extra possessions, and when you also win clearances by 2 total, you're getting plenty of the ball and plenty of opportunities that they're not wasting by turning it over. 53 to 31 marks for the match, which suggests a bit of an uncontested domination by Crows, but we also saw that they dominated contested possessions. Tackle count was pretty high, certainly for the Crows, a bit above average. They had 81, 77 for the Dockers, which is once again slightly above their average, but only just. Tackles inside 50, 22 for the Crows, just 3 for the Dockers. So really, there's no stats there that look good for the Dockers. It was just one-way traffic basically most of the game. Once they got their first goal on the board late in the first quarter, from then on it was one-way traffic, and it was clear who was going to win this one. Best players, as we said, there was no multiple goal scorers through this one. We did reel off all the goal kickers, so I won't go through them again, but we will jump into the best players of the game. And once again, highest fantasy scorer, in all honesty, best player on the ground, Ebony Marinoff. She has had an outstanding season. She's going to be going very close to AFLW MVP this year. Been pretty consistent. Had very, very few down games, and this was another one. 32 touches, kicked a goal, 12 tackles, as always, tackling machine. 8 clearances, 302 metres gained, plus a goal assist. Really taken a game to another level this year. Like previous years, she's been very, very good. I think this has been her best year. Absolute domination again from her. And Hatchard, her partner in crime, also really good. 24 touches, kicked it behind, 7 tackles, 206 metres gained, and a goal assist. So she was very good. Third best for Crows was probably Madison Newman with 24 touches. And outside of that, it was just role players. Their usual players getting in that 10 to 15 disposal range. Jumping across to the Fremantle Dockers, Mimstrom was probably best ruckman on the ground again. 13 touches, 34 hit-outs. Both ruckmen were pretty good. Mimstrom has had a great season, and this was no exception. Gabrielle Newton, 19 touches, 11 tackles, 8 clearances. That 8 clearances is really good. Emma O'Driscoll was good. McCarthy East also solid, but in the end, it was just the Crows too good in this one, much too good in the end. 37-point winners. They go through to a prelim final, which we'll be having a look at in a minute. But a really good performance from them. They'll be really happy heading into this week with how they performed last weekend. We'll jump into the other match, which was an absolute cracker. It was Hawthorn Port Adelaide at Icon Park. This was on Saturday night, and in the end, it was inaccuracy in front of goal that cost Hawthorn. They kicked 6 goals, 13-49. Played Port Adelaide 7-8-50. So Power get the 1-point win. It was pretty tight for the first half. Hawthorn kicked away in the third quarter and looked like they were going to be comfortable winners before Port Adelaide turned it on with the biggest comeback in AFLW history. With a fantastic performance, coming back from about 4 goals down at 3/4 time to win it by a point. They were, just a really, really fantastic performance from them. 22 points down at 3/4 time. Biggest 3/4 time deficit in AFLW comeback ever. Beating 20, which was St Kilda last year against Collingwood. So a fantastic performance from them. Hawthorn, disappointing end to their year. They had a really good year, but they just, couldn't keep it going. And the Port Adelaide wagon just keeps on rolling. After a slow start to the year, they really, really have just flying at the moment. So the worm, the way this game went, Ella Bow kicked the first for the Power before Hawthorn got two before quarter time. One through Aiden McDonough, and Greta Brody got the other one. Greta Bodie, not Brody. I always say Brody after Greta. I think it's just the R in the first name. Don't know. Second quarter, Port Adelaide got it off to a good start. Gemma Houghton kicked one, then Amber the OD kicked one to give them the lead, but Hawthorn, through Jasmine Fleming kicking a ripper, got them back in front just before that was about halfway through the second quarter, so 26-20 at half time. Poor kicking was keeping the Power in this one. Third quarter was one-way traffic. 2 goals, 4 played 0-0. So Hawthorn really had a chance to blow them out of the water here. They did kick away a bit, but in the end it wasn't enough. Louise Stevenson and Greta Bodie kicked goal each in that third quarter. One-way traffic the other way for most of the last quarter. Right from the start, Abby Dowrick, Gemma Houghton, Matilda Schultz put them within a kick. Abby Dowrick got her second of the last quarter to put them in front with about 5 or 6 minutes to go. And then Hawthorn got over the back through Caitlin Ashmore to kick one and get the lead back. And it was like, oh, maybe they can hold on here. They went up by a point. There was then 2 behinds for Port Adelaide, one a rush behind. The other one's Sashi Syme kicking a behind, which put them 1 point up with about a minute roughly to go. Hawthorn unable to get up the other end and even have a shot in that last minute. So Port Adelaide walk away 1 point winners and big celebrations. 8 wins in a row for a club that was one of the later clubs to join. Both of these weren't original teams, but but Port Adelaide hadn't shown much in previous years. Never really putting back-to-back wins together. The start of the season was okay, but they were down towards the bottom, and then since then they haven't put a foot wrong, and they just keep getting it done. So credit to them, great performance. A look at some of the numbers here will show how Hawthorn wasted this game. I think clearly they were the better team, but they have absolutely wasted their chances here. First off, total disposals plus 44 for the Hawks, so they had plenty of the ball. Most of that handballs. Port Adelaide actually had more kicks than Hawthorn, whereas Hawthorn maybe overpossessing it a little bit worse on the kick to handball ratio towards more handballs this game than usual for them, plus a lot more than Port Adelaide had. Inside 50s, 51 for Hawthorn is a massive number. For them to only get the 6 goals for the match is probably a little disappointing for them. 29 inside 50s for Port Adelaide, so 22 inside 50 difference is a massive margin between the two teams. Port Adelaide's disposal efficiency was very low at 52% compared to 61% for the Hawks. However, when Port went forward, they really converted it into shots most times, which was really good for them. Total clearance count, domination by Port Adelaide here, plus 14, plus 4 in centre clearances, plus 10 in stoppage clearances, so really good performance in the middle of the ground for Port Adelaide, and they'll really need that this week going up against the Kangaroos. Contested possessions, plus 7 for Port Adelaide, but plus 52 uncontested possessions for the Hawks. So they really control the ball out in the open, and the turnover count shows that as well. 50 for Hawthorn, which is a really good number. 59 for the Port Adelaide club, which is just a little bit more than perhaps they would have liked. Marks, pretty low marking game, 37-21. However, 10 contested marks for the Hawks to 7 for the Power is quite a reasonable number. Hawthorn led this for 69 minutes out of the 83 or 85 or whatever it was they played. So certainly controlled the game on the scoreboard for most of the way, just not at the end. Tackle count really high for both teams, 84 for Hawthorn, 93 for Port Adelaide. Well above average for both teams. Inside 50 tackles, 19 to 14 in favour of the Hawks. But when you consider the fact that Port Adelaide only went forward 29 times into their 50, they got 14 tackles in that. So just about one every 2 times they went forward, they were getting a tackle inside 50. So that's a pretty good number for them. And now a look at the best players. We went through the goal kickers, but we'll just go through the multiple goal kickers again. 2 for Port Adelaide, Gemma Houghton and Abby Dowrick, who kicked both of hers in the last quarter. And then for Hawthorn, Greta Bodie kicked 2. Some poor, inaccurate kicking from from Hawthorn here has certainly cost them. Multiple behind kickers. Louise Stevenson kicked 1 goal 3. McDonough and Jasmine Fleming both got 1 goal 2. So those aren't ideal when you're trying to win a finals game, but in the end, that's how footy goes. Best players could go to any one of about 8 players on the ground, in all honesty, but based on what we saw in that last quarter, it might have to go to Matilda Scholes, who has been outstanding all year long. 13 touches, kicked a goal, 7 tackles, 24 hit-outs, 7 clearances, 349 metres gained. And in that last quarter was everywhere. Every time there was a big play, she was right in the middle of it. So a fantastic performance from her. Probably gets best on ground, in all honesty. Abby Dowrick, 12 touches, 2 goals, was really good. 10 tackles as well. 2 goals in that last quarter. So very important time that she stood up. Piper Window was good. Goody was really good all game long. 354 metres gained, 15 touches. Gemma Houghton obviously kicked 2. Molly Brooksbury probably played her best game, in all honesty. She was really good. Her disposal by foot is very good. One of the best in the AFLW, if you asked me. 509 metres gained for her from 18 touches. Really good performance. For the Hawks, Emily Bates, 22 touches, good game, 9 tackles, 4 clearances. Jasmine Fleming kicked that goal in the second quarter, which was a good one, 15 touches for her. Tamara Smith, 15 touches, 10 tackles. Lucy Wales in the ruck was okay, but probably got beaten by Shells overall. Liza West was good. Greta Bodie kicked 2 goals from 13 touches. In the end, Port Adelaide just got the job done in that last quarter. Hawthorn, clearly the better team, but they've thrown this one away. And in one of the craziest stats for the year, there's a couple crazy ones out of this one actually, but Port Adelaide eliminate Hawthorn in both the men's and women's competition in a semi-final by less than a kick, which is unreal. Like, who would have seen that coming? Certainly start of the year for both the men's competition where Hawthorn looked nowhere near finals, and then in the women's competition where Port Adelaide looked like nowhere near finals. But crazy things have happened, and Port Adelaide get the win. I think it ends up being 1, 2, 3 or 4 times that these two teams have met across the men's and women's competition this year, and both times, all of the times, Port Adelaide have won by less than a kick, which is crazy. 2 finals, both in semi-finals in both competitions. And during the regular season, I know that in the men's competition, Port Adelaide beat Hawthorn. So, just crazy stats behind that one. So we'll now have a look how my tips went last week quickly before we jump into prelim final week. My tips, we got Adelaide right. We went with them by 15 points. They ended up winning by 37, so we weren't that close, but I mean, we weren't terrible either. And then the second game, we went Hawthorn by 3 points, which looked pretty close to being right at one point, but Port Adelaide get the 1 point win, so we get it wrong, so we go 1-2. 74 out of 104 for the season, which is a pretty healthy 71.1% on the year, which is pretty good. 3 games remain. We'll see if we can't get that to 77. Moving into prelim final week, while we get this one going, don't forget to check out all my socials, check out all my content if you're enjoying what I'm putting out. We've got multiple podcasts a week. We do plenty of other videos. AFL Draft is just about to start day 2. There'll be a video going out live on the YouTube channel in the next couple of days for the men's draft. Day 1 of the draft was yesterday. So we'll be doing that shortly. So stick around, check that out. Check out all the socials. Plenty of content everywhere. Appreciate you for being here. If you enjoy it, let me know. Jumping into prelim final week, we've got 2 cracking games, both on Saturday. It's meant to be hot in Melbourne on Saturday, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We've got North Melbourne Port Adelaide to lead us off at Icon Park. North Melbourne are going to be going in heavy favourites. There's no doubt about that in this one. They have been the team to beat all season. Haven't lost a game yet this year. They did draw in round 2, but since then it's been all smooth sailing. They've played pretty much all the other good teams in the competition, managed to beat them all. So it's hard to see a world where they don't win this one. But Port Adelaide are flying. They've won 8 in a row. Granted, up until finals, they hadn't really beaten anyone, but they've knocked over Richmond and Hawthorn in the finals. This will take their absolute best, but we'll go into more detail shortly. In the other game, we have Brisbane Adelaide up in Brisbane, Saturday night football, 7:30. Brisbane going in slight favourites, 3rd, 4th on the ladder through the regular season. It's going to be a cracker, there's no doubt about it. So we will jump into North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide first. What to say about this one? Yes, Saturday afternoon. It's going to be hot. North Melbourne, it's hard to see a world where they don't win. Emma Kearney is apparently, she is named. They've been saying for the last couple of days she's definitely going to be returning, so that's a massive in for them straight away. It's hard to see a world where the Kangaroos don't get this done. History of these 2 teams. They did meet in week 4 this year, and the Kangaroos won reasonably convincingly. I think that was the last time Port Adelaide lost a game, in all honesty. It was 6-6-42 to 1 straight 6. So pretty comfortable win. Previous other 2 times they've met, last year they met and Kangaroos won it by 63 points. Year before, Kangaroos won it by 25. So the history is on the side of the Kangaroos. The performance of, the best team is certainly on the side of North Melbourne. So it's hard to see a world where they don't win this one. Just to look at some of the key stats last time these 2 teams met. Plus 105 disposals for the Kangaroos, plus 17 inside 50s. Plus 6 clearances, plus 44 contested possessions, plus 70-odd uncontested. It was just one-way traffic all game long. 129 tackles the Kangaroos laid last time these 2 teams met. If they lay anything like that on the weekend, this will be one-way traffic, one-way domination. They had 4 players, the Kangaroos, get over 100 in fantasy last time. Riddell, Garner, May King and Ruby Tripodi all getting over 100 fantasy points. So, they had a high tackle count. So, 13 to Riddell, 17 to Mia King and 13 to Tripodi. So, one-way traffic. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it. I don't see a world where Port Adelaide make it too interesting, but I mean we can hope for a good game, but we will see how it plays out. It's going to be hot, so maybe they'll benefit the power. We'll see. Both South Australian teams still alive. Will one of them or both of them make a grand final? We shall see on the weekend. We'll jump into the other game, which is certainly the one expected to be the better of the two. It's Brisbane Adelaide in what is probably, over the history of AFLW, two of them, certainly top 3 or 4 most successful clubs in the history of the AFLW. These two teams have met each other many times over the history of the AFLW, and many times in finals. This will be the 4th year in a row. Well, 4th year in a row, 4 out of 5 seasons that they're going to have met in the final series. It's also, they've met in 2 grand finals in 2017, 2021, splitting them 1 each. They met in the prelim final in 2022, season 7, which the Lions won by 23 points. And then they met in the qualifying final last year, which Brisbane won by 2 points. So crazy in 8 seasons that this will be the 8 season, 9, 10 seasons, whatever it is. Are we really on to 10 seasons? 8. No, 9 seasons. 9th season? Whatever it is. That this will be the 5th time these two clubs have met in a finals match, which is absolutely crazy. Brisbane going in short favourites, or not short favourites, close favourites. Obviously won the premiership last year. Betting suggests that we're going to have a grand final rematch of last year with Kangaroos and Brisbane. But Adelaide will put up a fight. Obviously played last weekend where Brisbane had the weekend off, so it'll be interesting to see who that favours. They've met already this year in what was a cracking game. Brisbane won by 2 points up in Brisbane. That was in week 5, so a little bit ago. But the last 3 times these two teams have met, Brisbane have won by less than a kick in all 3 of them. So they've got a bit of the wood on them at the moment, but they're always tight games. 35-33 earlier this year, 37-39 in qualifying final last year, and then they also met in round 8 last year, which was 42-39, all in favour of Brisbane. So it should be a cracking game, should be an interesting game to see how that kind of plays out. I think this is ridiculously 5 years in a row that Brisbane have made the prelim final. They've won 3 of them, lost 1, so pretty good success. The only loss was to Melbourne in season 6 of the competition. So they're just consistently up there right now every year. They've won 2 premierships in that time, 2021 and 2023. Obviously, Adelaide have had some good success as well over the years, but this Brisbane team just continually getting it done. Have a look at some of the best players some of the stats, from last time these two teams met. Adelaide actually won the inside 50 count by +7, so maybe wasted some chances. Clearances were dominated by Adelaide. Uncontested footy did go the way of Brisbane, but contested went the way of Adelaide. Tackle count was pretty low. Brisbane were about their average, but Adelaide were certainly down on their average, so they'll be looking to bring a bit more heat, I think, in this one. We'll see how that plays out. Best players, as always, last time they played was Ebony Marinoff for Adelaide's best, 31 touches and a goal. She'll probably need to do at least that again if they want to win this one. Ali Anderson was best for Brisbane with 32 touches. What else can we say about this one? It's going to be a cracker, no doubt about it. I think it's game of the weekend. Well, there's only 2 to choose from, but I think it's clearly going to be the one that everybody expects to be the good one. I'm hoping we get a good performance from Port Adelaide. I'm hoping this one goes down to the wire. We'll see how it plays out, but it should be a cracker, hopefully. we'll jump into my tips for this weekend. 2 games. First one, we go to North Melbourne. I've gone by 20. It's hard to see a world where Port Adelaide can compete in this one. It should be North Melbourne comfortably through to a grand final, but I mean, strange things happen. It's football. You never fully know, but I think I'll be pretty confident in the fact that North Melbourne win this one. The other game could go either way. Brisbane have the wood on them, have the history kind of on their side over the last couple of seasons, but I've gone with Adelaide by 3 points. I just feel like they will feel like they've got more to play for. I mean, it's a prelim final. Both teams have a lot to play for, but Brisbane got that success last year. I think Adelaide are going to come out and give it their absolute best and hopefully bring a bit more tackle pressure than they did last time these two teams met, because they are a very good tackling team typically, and if they can convert their chances, they can win this one. I think in the end it's going to come down to a bit like most games, not just in AFLW but in AFL as well, and probably in lower leagues and all around the world, the country. Kicking straight is very important, and in finals it's never more important. Look at what happened to Hawthorn last week. Any team this weekend kicks poorly, it might cost them the game. North Melbourne might survive a bad kicking day, but the other 3 teams, if they kick poorly, they 100% lose. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, that's going to be crucial for both teams in this game and in the other one. So, yeah, we've gone Adelaide in the other prelim. So, we'd be looking at a North Melbourne-Adelaide grand final, which could be a cracker. So yeah, that's everything I've got for you, I think, in AFLW this week. Other than just to tidy up a little bit of news that has come out in the last week or so for AFLW, they've announced what they're doing next year with the competition. And, I mean, it's positive news, I think. Overall, it's not the news that everybody wanted to hear, but it's probably the right decision in many ways. So they're extending out to 12 games next year. This year was obviously 11 games for the home and away season, so they do get an extra game, and it's extended over an extra 2 weeks. So they've got rid of the condensed fixture that they had this year, which, I mean, they tried it. It didn't work. Everybody knows it didn't work. The AFL clearly know it didn't work. So getting rid of the condensed fixture was a massive W, no doubt about it. A great decision. They have added an extra game, so that's also good. We're progressing. It's the right way to do it, in my opinion. Just steadily keep growing the matches until we get to the point where they're playing 17 matches in the home and away season. So they play every team once. Until we get to that point, just slowly building it. Don't rush it. List sizes and depth of talent probably isn't there just to go bang and have 17 or 18 games or whatever it is. So I think it's the right decision in terms of that. It's also moving forward or back, forward, whichever way, about a month. So it's starting at the start or early August next year, whereas this year it started September. So the first few weeks will be clashing with the final rounds of the AFL men's season. We'll see how that plays out. I reckon that's done twofold for 2 reasons. Get the season an extra game, obviously. Also, see how it goes putting 9 matches of AFLW up against 9 matches of AFL men's. A lot of people have been saying the competitions need to run side by side. While that will kind of work for some people, I'm worried about the fact that people like me who watch every game is going to be bloody tough watching 9 AFLW games a weekend after watching 9 AFL men's. It's only a few weeks, and woe is me, I guess, but I don't think as many people will watch as much AFLW over those weeks because the AFL men's season will be full force going forward. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm not an expert at trying it. We'll see how it goes. But positive news overall, extra game, 2 extra weeks. Yeah, I think positive news. Award season's coming up for AFLW, so we'll have our All-Australian team probably next week. Maybe. I'll have a look at it and see if we can do it next week's episode. Probably can. So we might do that. We'll also have a look at, I don't know when the actual AFLW All-Australian team comes out. I need to look at that. But that will be coming up. And we'll be looking at the AFLW Grand Final, which will be next weekend. And then once that's wrapped up, it's off-season for both competitions. So we'll be a little bit less. We'll be back to one podcast a week after that, and all the way through until probably late January, when we will start going back into 2 a week and really pumping out the content for 2025. We're hoping for a big 2025 here at All Aussie Rules. We want to grow. We want to give you the content you want to see. So stick around, tell your friends, like, comment, make sure you're subscribed. This has been All Aussie Rules, episode 76. Episode 77 will be coming out on Monday. It'll be a look back at draft nights for the AFL men's competition, and then back again next Friday for AFLW finals or grand final preview, episode 78. Check them all out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.